So today is the worst red air day we've had in 5 years. So health experts tell us if you want to breathe, you better go up to the mountains. From up here at the top of Mill Creek Canyon, one can see the severity of the problem. Up here near the top of Grandeur Peak, it's gorgeous. But down in the valley, it's a noxious mess. People call it crud, gunk, or the shit soup.
So what this voice is my lungs are so bad that I've had to be put on steroids for my lungs because of the inversion, and the steroids are killing my voice.
Every year we have a protest or two. A lot of people show up sick, coughing, and mad as hell. Every year political leaders tell us they're going to do more. They tell us we can solve the problem if we work together, get out of our cars, use transit. 3 years ago, our state legislature formed a group called the Clean Air Caucus, a bipartisan committee designed to help improve our air quality. Great! I decided to come to Capitol Hill to see what they've done. I was then granted an interview with the leader of the Clean Air Caucus, Patrice Arendt. Now just a little prep before we go on the interview. This is what I know. While the biggest culprit for polluting our air is in fact vehicles, let's face it, nobody wants to get out of their car and ride a bus on a red air day. And while cars emit a lot of CO2, CO2 is not what is making us sick. Last year, I developed asthma. I needed to use an inhaler, and I found out I am definitely not alone. Also, according to the CDC, Utah is more than twice the national average in parents sending their children to the hospital for asthma attacks. And what I'm concerned about, that the media and our political leaders appear to pay scant attention to, is the industrial pollutants that we put into our air, like chlorine gas, hydrochloric acid, ammonia, sulfuric acid. The nasty stuff that actually causes most of the side effects I can feel on red air days. And out of all the nasty chemicals industrial polluters emit in the air, the highest quantity comes from chlorine emitted by one major polluter, US magnesium, also known as MagCorp. Chlorine gas is banned in warfare by the Geneva Protocol, but we're allowing our industrial polluters to put it into our air? This is nuts. Has there been studies done to determine what are the most harmful pollutants that actually make people sick?
I am not a scientist. You're talking probably to the wrong person. We all know that the combination is making people sick. We know that when we're having inversions, it's horrible for children who have asthma and adults who have asthma. This is a big problem for them. In fact, asthma is the #1 chronic disease putting our children in hospitals in Utah. We know it's difficult for seniors who are told to stay inside. We know it's not good for pregnant women, particularly if they're in their 3rd trimester. I can't tell you, and there are probably others who are experts in this, which of the chemicals are the worst, but they're all in the air. You can't pull some out.
So I know the major pollutant from cars and wood-burning stoves is CO2, and it's a naturally occurring chemical in our atmosphere. But we've been looking at the industrial polluters such as MagCorp,
right,
and they emit 8.6 million pounds of chlorine gas, and they're just to the west of the valley, and they're off by the Great Salt Lake. You can't see them, but is there studies, or are there any bills that are addressing the issue of what are these chemical compounds doing, and are these particulates we're finding in the air that actually could be causing more harm than just CO2?
One of the things we've tried to fund every year is research, because we need real data. And we need to make sure we understand what's causing the problems and what are realistic solutions.
I decided to come to ground zero today on this red air day to talk to a few of the guys who literally battle pollution as they attempt to do their jobs when the air quality is about as bad as it can get.
You walk outside and it immediately affects you. It's not a gas mask, it's a respirator that has a couple of simple pieces of cloth that are designed to stop heavy particulate matter that's in the atmosphere, but it doesn't do that great of a job. Nothing compared to the stuff that we should need, that we should require, which is something that can prevent things like chlorine gases or fluorine-containing gases from damaging cells in the human body. That's what our biggest concern is. It's not really anymore the stuff that a lot of people complain about. It isn't the temperature that bothers us. It certainly isn't carbon dioxide presence. It's the presence of things that are not carbon dioxide. It isn't so much the heavy matter that forms from what I know wood fire smoke to be, but from my experience being out there, I can taste something that is different. Something that tastes like heavy metal. Something that tastes like the taste of touching your tongue to a car battery. That's what it tastes like.
Burning, because it's not CO2. You're not going to get a burning sensation in your throat.
And is it a combination? See, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know if it's
either,
have you seen these charts?
Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah, because that's what you ought to be looking at. Is what's the different percentages, and where is it really coming from?
And I believe that the amount of particulates in the atmosphere is mostly automobiles, but what I don't buy is that those are the most harmful pollutants.
Well, you ought to talk to them because there's a NOx and the VOC. I mean, there's all the VOCs and NOx and all of that, and you know how they add into particulates and PM 2.5. So you again talk to an expert. Don't talk to me about that. I'm doing what I can from a legislative perspective, which is not determining which pollutants. I mean, that's not how.
Yeah.
That's regulated by the.
And how do you legislate? I mean, how do you legislate that kind of stuff effectively without a scientist at your side? I guess is my question too.
But that's what we have the Division of Air Quality for. They have a scientist. They have a board that makes regulations. I mean, that's what we ought to be doing. They create. Are you familiar with SIP? Okay, that's the state implementation plan for getting rid of air pollution, basically. So you've got to go talk to them about that because that's the basic document.
While I didn't get any definitive answers today, I did get a lot of great leads on more experts I should talk to. Thanks for watching.